guys, this is Jamie from System22 and GreatWebDesign.com. Welcome to this video. In this video, or this series of videos, we're going to start building a one-page scrolling Bootstrap website. One-page scrolling sites are very fashionable at the moment. They make great landing pages and product launch pages and squeeze pages. So let's get started. We're going to be using the Bootstrap framework here. So let's go to startbootstrap.com and we're going to get a bare bones theme for our structure. So if we go over to themes and unstyled starter templates, this is the one we're going to use right here. It's a scrolling nav template. So let's preview and download it. I'll show you the live preview quickly. This is it, and it's just got a few sections with a nav bar at the top here. It's automatically got the built-in smooth scrolling. So that's just what we want for our new site. So if we go back and download it, once we've got that zip downloaded, I've created a folder on my desktop. You can put yours wherever you want, but I'm going to put mine in there. And there we have it. Now just extract the files here. Once they're extracted, you get this folder. And inside, they've conveniently got the CSS, the fonts and the JavaScript, and also the index HTML, which is the actual site itself. Please read the license. It's Creative Commons, so you can use it for anything you want. But anything you download, you want to make sure you've got a license to be able to use it. I've read that. I understand it. That's great. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those two files. Okay, next thing we want to do, let's just open it up. And of course, we get the same thing as we just saw in our live demo there. Now what we're going to do in this lecture is start styling our navigation bar here. I mean, it's pretty generic looking. It does work, but this isn't really what we want for the site I have in mind. So if we go back up to the top there, I don't like the way that navbar actually shrinks like that. It may be good for you, in which case that's great. What we need to do to remedy that situation is open our folder and go to our CSS files here. This is their custom one that we'll be working on, the scrolling nav one. What we want to do is open this one in your text editor. I have Brackets, which is freely downloadable from brackets.io, and it's a great text editor. If you've got your own, that's great too, because you know how to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and open that with Brackets. And here's the styling that they've given us for our site here. Now if I just move this out the way, what we want to do, the first thing I want to do is give that navbar just a white background. So I'm going to hit the inspector there, and let's have a look. At the moment, yeah, that is right there. So the navbar default is the thing we want to change over there. So I'm just give it white, which I know is FFF. It's actually 6, but you only need to put 3 digits in if it's the same. Let's turn that white, which is what we want there. We'll leave the border there for a moment, just in case it'll make a split between that and the top section there. So if we just copy what we've done there, and when you do it in the browser and in Inspector here, I'm using Google Chrome, it's non-destructive, so as soon as you hit the refresh button, it'll turn it back. I'll just show you. I'm going to copy our change there, and I'll just refresh that, and you see it's gone back to how it was. Now if we get our editing software, our text editor back here, and we'll start working on our navigation here. just down under the nav bar that they've got put in. Now we don't need that second one because we haven't changed it. If I do a quick save, and back to our site and refresh, now you can see that's turned white, which is what we wanted in the beginning. The next thing we're going to do is stop that nav bar from changing size when we scroll. If that works for you, fine, just leave it as it is. But I want it to remain a constant height there. So let's just have a look at it. Again, we'll just inspect it. It's just the nav bar itself. If you scroll down, it highlights the parts that you want there. Yeah, it's just the default nav bar then. Let's give it a minimum height. 100 pixels. Now let's see what happens when we scroll. Yeah, it stayed the same height, but that's moved up there, and we want that to stay in the same place. So we'll give it some padding, some constant padding. Let's try padding 20 by 20. If you're putting two attributes in, then the first one is top and bottom, and the second one is left and right. If you want them to do them individually, it's top, right, bottom, left. We're only going to be using two here. It's almost there. It needs to come down just a little bit more, I believe. So let's give it 25. Yeah, that looks about right, 25. So if we just copy that. As I say, this is non-destructive, so if we move back and do that again, it's back as it was. Now we go over to our CSS, and just below where we've done the navbar default color there, I'll paste in that change that we made there. So we've got a minimum height of 100 and padding top, bottom 25, left, right 20. Obviously you can put in whatever you want for your needs, and save that. Let's go back and refresh our browser. There we are, we've got it more like it there. So that's starting to shape up a little bit now. I'm planning to put a logo here, so I'd rather that the actual menu itself was over to the right hand side here. We've only got 3 sections right there. Let's just quickly create a few more sections. So if we go to back to our folder and open up the index HTML in your text editor, let's have a quick look at what we got going on here. Here's the navigation, the menu. Here's that first section they've got, and here's a bunch of other sections that they've just put there. What I'm going to do is I'll copy this section a couple of times, so we've got another couple of sections to add. There's one, and there's 2. Call this new one, and where it says section ID, contact services, that's what the navigation actually scrolls down to. So we'll give this a new name, N1. It doesn't matter, I'm not going to change any of that for the time being, because we will be changing these sections at a further date. And we'll call this next one N2. Just for identification purposes, we'll put the new names in down here. Now we need to go back up to the navbar here and add 2 more sections from the list item to the closing list item tag. So we can just copy that, Control C, go down underneath, Control V, and the first one, instead of contact, we're going to make it go to N1. We'll just paste that section in again underneath, Control V to paste, and this one wants to go to N2, and we'll give them a couple of new names here. In fact, we'll leave that last one contact. We'll change this one for new 1, new 2, and I'll make a gap there just so it's more textually legible. Okay, and up the top here, they've actually got nothing for the home. Let's add in a home one there. That's just going to pull it back to the top. A lot of people don't like to use that nowadays because they say it's old-fashioned, but I still like to use it. And it's actually hidden at the moment because you see that says class hidden. Let's just delete that so it actually shows up. So we'll delete that. We'll save our changes, Control S, and we'll go back to the site. Now when we refresh, there we are, there's our new pages come up there. Let's make sure they scroll down to where they're supposed to go. Yeah, we got the contact and the new one back to front, but it doesn't matter, they're actually the same way around, but we'll be editing those anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So the next thing we want to do is I'd rather see this section over here moved over to this side, so you've got a bit of distance between it and the logo there. That's very easy to do. Let's go back to our text editor, and right here in the unordered list class navbar nav that we've got selected, just put a gap and put in navbar dash right, save it, Control S, back to our browser, refresh it, and there we have it. That's pushed that over to the right there. Okay, next thing I want to do is, I mean that's okay, but I want to style this up a little bit more. So let's just inspect that. And as you can see, the active, that's the color of it right there. By default active, you can see as I'm on it, it's highlighting the padding and everything around it. So that's the color of the font, and that's the background color. So let's give it a bit more interesting background color. I've got a blue sort of color that I've got copied over here, so I'll copy that and we'll just paste that in there. So that's a bit nicer blue color, but now we want the text, the home, to be white. So we know that's FFF, or FFF actually, but so that looks a bit better. Okay, so we'll copy that over to our style sheet, copy that, open up our brackets and go to our style sheet, and just after the last one that we did there, let's put that in there and save it. Now back to our site and refresh. That shouldn't have changed, that should be the same now. Now what we want to do, when we hover over these page titles up here, I want it to be the same as this. So let's just click on one of them and inspect, and let's go down to the hover element right here, and I'll check hover, and at the moment it's just doing, that's the color and there's no background color. So what we're going to do is I'll put in that same color from the background. Okay, and again we'll make this white, which is FFF, you got it. Okay, that's a bit more like it. Now when we move over any of these, they should go that color there. Yeah, that's great. Again, we'll copy this and paste it into our style sheet, just under our last entry there. That's fine, and save it. What I'll do, I'm just going to tidy this up a bit here. This is where we started doing our custom editing. So I'm just going to put an entry in here. It's not style, it's just a title. And we do that by hitting the / and the star again, and another /. Then in between there, we can type what we want. And I usually put a description there. That way, if we've got to find it later on, it makes it a little bit easier. There we have it. It just separates it out a bit. And if you've got thousands of lines of code, it just does make it a little bit easier. So we'll save that back to a quick refresh. Now when we put our mouse over these, yep, that's working just as I wanted it to. What I don't like there is these two, when they're side by side, there's no actual separation. It looks like one big blue block over the home and the about. Let's change that so there's a little bit of separation. And all I'm going to do there is add a border, a left and right, a little 1 pixel white border. So let's go back to our style sheet. And we'll see what happens. We'll do it on the hover. Border left. And we'll give it 1 pixel, solid, and white. And semicolon always after an attribute. And I'll just copy that again. Move down, paste it in, and change the right to left, or left to right, I should say. Now, if we save that, let's go back to our site, refresh. Now, when we roll over it, hopefully there should be a little. There we are. There's a little separator in between there. That way, it just breaks it up a little bit. You know, makes it more easy to see that it's two different things. So that's fine there. We're getting there. Next thing that I actually want to do here is add a logo. I've got one that I've made up already. So let's go ahead and do that. And to do that, we want to go to our index HTML file, which is in our brackets that we worked on just now. That's what we got there at the moment. If I just go back, that's that start Bootstrap right there. Now I want to replace that. I still want it to anchor up to the top here, so I want it to be wrapped in this A tag right there, the href. But I want that to be an image rather than just the writing there. So we'll go back to our folder, and I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it IMG, which is amazingly descriptive, but a lot of people put image, or you can call it what you want, just as long as you remember what you want it to be called. And I'm going to just quickly make a logo. I've got one, I believe, somewhere, and we'll put it in that folder. I'm just going to pause. Okay, so I've placed my logo in my image folder there. There it is, images. Now we need to actually place it up there. So if we go back to our brackets or our text editor, and we want to put it where the start Bootstrap was. So to do that, a bit of coding, I'm going to get rid of that. And we want to put in image. Well, it prompts us here, which is quite handy. We want to put in source, src, equals, and then some double colons back inside there. And it's our image folder. It's already prompted us, which is handy, and the only thing in there at the moment, which is the logo thing. And I need to put all images should have an alt attribute, which is for people that are sight impaired. It'll actually read out the description to them, I believe. I mean, my sight's not good, but I don't use that feature just yet. And I'll just say logo image, a bit more descriptive. And then of course we've got to put a little closing tag on the end there. Okay, hopefully now when we save this, Control S, and go back to our browser, our logo should appear up here. Bingo, and there it is, and it's a little out of alignment to say the least. That's all working still. So let's fix that. So if we inspect it again, and it's going to be the navbar brand. There are navbar brand right there. See the padding? Looks like we're going to have to do a bit of negative marginizing. Well, that's okay. So let's have a look here. Padding. Don't think that's going to be enough to pull it where we want to go. Let's pull it up some, but not as far as we want to go. So let's put that to 0. So that's up there. And we want to pull it up a little bit more, about 10, 12 pixels upwards. And to do that, I'm going to use margin top. I'm going to give it a negative value, which should pull it up. Oh, I put a semicolon instead of a colon there, which will not work. Okay, and so we're going to say minus 12 pixels. That actually pulled it up a little bit too much there, so let's try minus 10 pixels. That looks pretty good to me. Yeah, let's leave it at minus 10. What do? We copy it. And remember, we only need the ones that we've actually changed. So once I paste it, I'm going to delete the ones that we haven't changed there. So Control C to copy. Back to our bracket software. Now back to our styling sheet. And down under our last entry, I could be anal and put a logo tag there, but I think we'll just leave it as navbar brand. That's fine. Now we didn't change the float or the height, so we can get rid of those. We did change the padding, and we did change the margin, and we can get rid of the font size and the line height. So let's delete those and save. And back to our site. And a quick refresh. There we have it. So we've styled the navbar that we want for our site here. Let's make sure everything's working. Okay, and back to the top. Back to the bottom, and make sure our logo will make it scroll back to the top. Yep, that works absolutely fine. I'm happy with that. So there we have it. That'll do for this video. In the next video, we'll start working on the hero section here. So thanks for watching. This has been Jamie at System22 and GreatWebDesign.com. If you like Bootstrap, please take our Bootstrap course that's available on Udemy. It's aimed at getting you up and running with Bootstrap with a minimum of coding and includes some fantastic resources. You can get this course for just $10 from the link below.